morning and good evening to all of you, and welcome to this special tele-lecture by the father of the telematics revolution in India. So we all know of Dr. Sam Pitroda as a great techno enthusiast, but there's one dimension of him which is not that well known. So about a month back in a similar tele-lecture, I heard Dr. Pitroda say that he was born one among 8 children. All of them delivered successfully by his mother. All of them grew up healthily, and all of them are something in life now. But all this without any PhD, no A&M, no embryonic scanning, no ambulance, no nothing. The point he wanted to make was that there's something in our traditional indigenous knowledge systems that has seen us through for centuries, and we should not miss on that when we are embracing the demands of the 21st century knowledge economy. That's not to say that he or any of us do not want to make use of the benefits of modern science and just go back to the old days, because the very medium that he is speaking through, and the very fact that this very same lecture is being simultaneously viewed by students in 2 other halls is all tribute to the wonderful work he has been able to do in his first innings in the 1980s, and later through his work in the National Knowledge Commission and its fruits like the National Knowledge Network. So, Dr. Pitroda, I have to tell you this evening that I was also born in my village, in my own house, with the help of just a midwife. But I think that's the only thing I can claim to share in common with Mr. Pitroda. I think there's a world of difference which will be explicated by Mr. Vishak Hegde as he formally introduces the speaker. Over to you.
Satyanarayan Gangaram Pitroda was invited by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to come back to India from the US, and under Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi laid the foundation of India's technology and telecommunications evolution in the 1980s. Mr. Pitroda has been a leading campaigner to help bridge the global digital divide. During his tenure as the advisor to Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi in the 1980s, Mr. Pitroda headed 6 technology missions related to telecommunications, water, literacy, immunization, dairy, and oil. He was also the founder and first chairman of India's Telecom Commission. Mr. Pitroda was chairman of India's National Knowledge Commission from 2005 to 2008. Currently, he is the advisor to Prime Minister of India on public information infrastructure innovation, and has undertaken the ambitious task of providing a plan for creating digital infrastructure in the country for enhancing governance and improving delivery of public services. He is also the chairman of National Innovation Council, and Mr. Pitroda has also chaired the expert group of modernization of Indian Railways, constituted by the Ministry of Railways, which submitted its report in 2012. He is also the chairman of Smart Grid Task Force, set up under the aegis of Ministry of Power, Government of India. He has also been appointed as one of the founding commissioners of the United Nations Broadband Commission for Digital Development. He holds close to 100 worldwide patents and has published and lectured widely in US, Europe, Latin America, and Asia.
Yeah, so over to you, Mr. Pitroda, now.
Thank you. Dear students, faculty, and Dr. John Basco Laudaswamy, good evening. It is indeed a special privilege to have this opportunity to talk to you over video. I want to compliment you all for taking this initiative, and I want to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about my background, what I tried to do in 80s, lessons I have learned, what I'm trying to do now, and my hope and aspirations and vision for India. I want to emphasize that this initiative is all about 2 or 3 key new initiatives. One, the technology of internet and web has changed almost everything. It has changed the way we live, socialize, and learn. With internet, all local events become international. Learning models change. You don't learn the same way I learned 60, 70 years ago. Today, I really don't need teacher to create content and deliver content. Content is already available from best of the best brains in the world on internet, and I can get it delivered if I have the tools in multiple ways. So I really need teacher just as a mentor. Lesson number 2 is that learning can come from everywhere. Learning is not about textbook, class, duster, blackboard, teacher, exam, grades, and certificate. Learning can come from family, at home, in the backyard, in your garden, on the streets, at train stations, from a lot of the traditional wisdom. So learning is not just about what you do in schools. And learning is also a lifelong process. Every day, and I'm 70 years old. And there is so much to learn that my hunger for learning just doesn't seem to end. To me, education also redefines yourself. I'm a son of a carpenter. When I got my degree in physics, when I became computer electronics telecom engineer, I acquired new caste. So I think education not only empowers you, it also redefines you. And it continuously allows you opportunity to redefine yourself as you grow. Third lesson is learning is all about motivation, time, content, and concerns for learning. Learning can come from anywhere, at any time, in any form. And I think it's important to recognize that before we begin this journey. Now let me begin with my own little journey that I have taken and see how this weaves into some of the lessons that we want to explore. I was born and raised in a small little town in Orissa, tribal village called Titilagad, with no more than 2,000-3,000 people then. I was born in 1942. My father had 4th grade education. We were 8 in the family. Like John said, we were all born at home in a place where there was no running water, no electricity, no telephone, no doctor, no nurse, no pharmacy. All of us were born at home, and all 8 out of 8 turned out to be mentally healthy, physically healthy, and all 8 came to America to settle. I came here in 1964. Since there were no good schools in Orissa in those days, in that village, my parents, who originally came from Gujarat, decided to send me to a boarding school in Gujarat, because then the only connection Gujarati parents had with Gujarat living in Orissa was through Gandhi and Sardar Patel. I still remember a day when I was very young. My dad came and said, Gandhiji just died. And we all had to take a bath as if somebody in the family had died. So growing up, Gandhi and Patel really brought in the kind of values, ethics that we were basically focused on. Went to school there, then decided to move to Baroda to get a degree in physics. I was the first one in the family to graduate from college. Then went for masters in physics, and in the process met a girl on campus, fell in love, and one fine morning saw in the newspaper that President Kennedy has decided to take man onto the moon. I was young, energetic, stupid, and decided that I need to go to America. Applied for admission, got an admission, and came to US to learn, and decided to stay to earn. Wanted to get a PhD in physics, and I found out it takes 7 years to get a PhD in physics. I had a girlfriend in India. I didn't want to wait for 7 years. So I decided to change my subject immediately to electrical engineering, because I could go get a degree in 9 months in electrical engineering. Things do happen in life. And my journey is a classical example of how you don't plan anything. But things happen. Then my girlfriend came to America in '66, got married in US, just two of us, no family member, no her parents were not there, my parents were not there. We just took $150 and got married and started life in the US. One by one called all our brothers and sisters to US, put everybody through college. Everybody got married and settled. In the process, I launched a business in America in 1974. I had worked in telecom, had several patents, worked for GTE, and then decided it was time to quit working and be an entrepreneur. My father, who was visiting America then in '74, told me that you are working too hard for somebody. Why don't you work for yourself? He didn't really understand what I did. In fact, I remember one day he asked me, he said, "What did you study?" And I said, "Dad, I studied physics." So his next question was, "What is physics?" The lesson I learned from him is that he never interfered in children's quest for knowledge. He never advised anybody to do anything. He set an example of someone who worked very hard, someone who loved his children, and someone who was interested in the prosperity of the next generation. In the schools, I learned about discipline. In college, I learned about analysis. And at work, I learned about creativity. Sold the business in 1979 to Rockwell International, then for $50 million. I made a little bit of money then, which looked like a lot of money in '79. For a person who had no money at all, I thought What would I do with all that money? And I was then about 38, searching for new challenge. I'd built a family, I'd built business, I'd made a little bit of money, but it felt like there was a need to do something else. And when I made first chunk of money, I decided to come to India, to Delhi. I'd never been to Delhi in my life. So came to Delhi and tried to call my wife on telephone. Then India had less than 2 million telephones. It used to take 10 years to get a telephone connection. I tried to call her from Taj Mahal Hotel and couldn't make a phone call. Tried several times, and then little bit of arrogance and lot of ignorance said, I'm going to fix this. So I went back to US and told my wife that I think I found a mission for the next 10 years. I'm going to work on fixing India's telephones. I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know anybody in the government. I was totally ignorant about what Indian government meant, what bureaucracy was. If I had known everything I know about India and Indian government today, I would have never tried it. So the lesson I learned from that is that ignorance is a great asset. Don't complicate your life with too much knowledge. But at the same time, you need to learn a lot. So life is full of contradictions. Then I decided that to learn more about India, I must travel. So I used to come to India every 2 weeks. I'll stay in Delhi, didn't know anybody, had no idea of what Joint Secretary in government meant, what Minister of State versus Cabinet Minister meant. And in the process, got to know a few people, just staying at hotel. Finally, somebody suggested I must meet Mrs. Gandhi. So through someone I got to meet her. I was given an appointment for 10 minutes and I decided to cancel it and said, look, I would need 1 hour. Took me 8 more months to get an appointment for an hour with Mrs. Gandhi. I had a complete blueprint of what I thought India would need. And my message was that you can use information and communication technology to build nation. Information brings about openness, accessibility, connectivity, networking, democratization, decentralization, and as a result, huge potential for transformation. India can focus on telecom to connect all different parts of India, integrate properly, and India can use young talent to build a nation. But this would require commitment to indigenous development, digitization of the network, local industry, local talent, rural connectivity. All of these were interesting ideas. She had her entire cabinet at her house. Everyone was there. Then Venkatraman, who was finance minister, Pranab Mukherjee, Arjun Singh, all the key leaders were there. And also Rajiv Gandhi and her close friends and colleagues, Arun Nehru, Arun Singh, Vijay Dhar, they were all there. Gundu Rao was there. I spent an hour outlining my vision, and that's when I met Rajiv Gandhi for the first time. And that gave me an opportunity to connect with him, and we basically clicked. We were just about same age. And I realized that Rajiv Gandhi would be the key person to push my vision. Then when Mrs. Gandhi died, I decided to come back to India for lock, stock and barrel with my family. While Mrs. Gandhi was alive, we decided to launch CDOT, Center for Development of Telematics. The idea was to get 400 young engineers in Delhi and Bangalore, boys and girls, right out of college, mainly IITs and others, train them, turn them loose and build products for Indian needs, rural exchange, PABX, sort of bigger exchange for urban areas. And we needed $36 million then in 36 months to do it. And we needed government support to launch this mission. It took a long time to plan. We started our first presentation in 1980-81, and CDOT was established in 84 August. It took 3 years to work with the government, back and forth. They sent a team to Chicago to check me out, saying, who is this man? Is he for real? Why does he want to do it? What is his angle? And as I got more and more into this learning process about government, I realized that building a nation is very different from building a company. Totally different sets of ground rules. And I had to decide at some point in time whether I want to build a business in telecom or I want to help build a nation using telecom. Gave great deal of thought to it, and then a lot of my training in Gandhian values convinced me that you can always build a business, but it is time to give. So I decided that I don't want to build business. I will work in India without any salary, and I work in India for the last 30 years. I take no salary. I pay for my own travel expense. And Gandhian lessons about simplicity, about sense of sacrifice, love for everybody, unconditional love, truth and absolute truth. And all of these things that I had learned when I was a little boy really came alive and showed me the path that I needed to take. And I still remember a lot of people in Indian government were very suspicious. I remember one of the ministers asking me, what do you really want? And I said, I really don't want anything. And that was very difficult for people to digest. Saying there has to be an angle. He's going to come up with something that he wants. And I was clear, I don't need your title, don't need your designation, don't need a job, no salary. I just want opportunity to get it done. Finally, in 3 years, we developed series of products, built infrastructure for India's telecom, trained tens of thousands of engineers, built ancillary industry, local production, learned about C++ and all kinds of other software capabilities, Unix. This was mid-80s. And ultimately delivered STD PCOs, rural exchanges, and all of the things that we all take for granted today. Then we had 2 million phones. Today India has 900 million phones. We are a nation of a connected billion. The key is how do we use this connectivity going forward to build a whole new nation. We also in the process build very large software industry. We do close to $100 billion in software and related services as export. We have our own multinationals. We have global companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, and many others. And it has given us great deal of global recognition, pride, human capacity, and the idea is to build on all of this going forward. Your professor wanted me to specifically emphasize what I thought were the success factors in getting this done. Why wasn't it done before? And I gave some thought. And when I analyzed the history of India after independence, I find that there are 5-6 key areas where we have made dent because of science and technology. One is atomic energy, and that required Bhabha and Nehru's equation. Space, Vikram Sarabhai and Mrs. Gandhi. Green Revolution, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan and others, and Mrs. Gandhi. White Revolution, Dr. Kurian and several prime ministers. Telecom, it required combination of Rajiv Gandhi, his political will, his support, and my domain expertise. So the first lesson I learned is that you need political will to get anything this big done. Without political will, things don't happen. 2, you need domain expert, leader who goes beyond personal interest into public interest. Someone who has a lot of qualities, not just the expertise in that subject. Someone who can articulate, have a vision, track record, someone who understands multidisciplinary approach to a lot of these things, and not just have a narrow view of technology or science, and someone who can empower lots of people to work together. Lesson number 3 was that you need to pay a lot of attention to organizational skills and structuring. I believe CDOT was successful because it was a bypass to telecom organization. If CDOT had been part of the Department of Telecom, it would have been killed immediately by bureaucracy. So it had to be a bypass outside of the Government of India as an independent center. Look at atomic energy, look at space, look at NDDB, and look at CDOT. They were all bypasses. But you also need with bypass and organization new work culture, new work norms, new work ethics, new ways of doing things. And you got to protect young from bureaucratic interference. But you also need clarity of vision, consistency, ability to communicate that vision, break it up into small pieces of work, hand it out to people, and then ability to put it together. Another lesson I learned is that young talent is very critical. We are fortunate in our country to have a lot of young people. As you know, we have 550 million young below age of 25. Young do bring in energy, enthusiasm, fresh mind, and ability to look at things from different perspectives. But you need to mentor them, work with them, love them, encourage them, and as a result you need to really pump them up. So I used to have a meeting every month of all 400 people for 2-3 hours. And we would review where we are, what we have done, where did we go wrong, how are the projects doing. So project management was the critical learning. We also realized that making public commitment through media, going to press and say, we will get it done in 36 months is important. Once you make public commitment, the pressure on you increases to deliver. These are some of the lessons we learned. We built lots of products and services. Then I moved on from CDOT to technology missions, worked very closely with Rajiv Gandhi, had great personal rapport. He was absolutely superb in his approach to technology, in his political will. He and I developed personal relationship, worked together very closely on many issues. I remember many times on a routine basis he would call me at 10 o'clock at night. My wife and I will go sit down with him and explore all kinds of new ideas, not just what I was doing. To me, those were the most exciting days of my life. It was romantic. It was like being on a drug all the time. I slept 3-4 hours a day. There's so much that was to be done. You were essentially possessed with all kinds of things that needed your attention. Then I had a heart attack. I had a quadruple bypass. Before that, Rajiv Gandhi lost election. New government got after Rajiv Gandhi and me, saying I'm also corrupt and Rajiv Gandhi is corrupt, and all the standard junk that goes on in India. Media picks it up, everybody loves it, because nobody understands anything more complicated. So when you say you are corrupt, everybody says, yeah, I agree. And it was a very difficult time for a while. When Rajiv Gandhi died, I realized I had run out of money. I had 2 children, 2 kids to go to college in America. And I needed to make money. And I couldn't make money in India working for somebody. So I decided to come back to US. By then I had given up my US nationality. So I came back on a tourist visa. But you couldn't work as a tourist. So I had a patent that I owned on electronic diary. So I took that patent and sued everybody. Radio Shack, Hewlett Packard, Toshiba, Sharp, Casio, got some royalty out of it and restarted my life. I have a son who went to MIT, electrical engineering and economics, went to Harvard, got an MBA, is a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley. We have a daughter who went to Michigan, worked with me for 4 years, then decided to go make movies in Hollywood, and is now doing an MBA at London Business School. And my wife and I are now alone. Parents died here in Chicago. Brothers, sisters are all settled, living all over. And then I decided to relook at India in 2004. Came to campaign for Congress Party. When Congress Party formed the government, National Advisory Council was set up by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi. I became member of the National Advisory Council and then focused on Knowledge Commission, because I realized that knowledge is going to be the key for India going forward. So as the chairman of the Knowledge Commission with very capable and interesting group of friends and colleagues, worked for 3-4 years in putting together a plan for India's knowledge institutions and infrastructure. We looked at access to knowledge, which include languages, translations, libraries, broadband connectivity, reservations, quotas, affirmative action programs. 2, knowledge concepts: school education, vocational education, higher education, distance learning, open courseware, teachers training. How do we send more of our kids into maths and science? How do we get more PhDs out of India? Then we also looked at creation of knowledge. Who creates knowledge? How knowledge is created? Patents, copyright, trademark, entrepreneurship, innovations. Then we looked at application of knowledge in agriculture, small and medium scale industry, health, and traditional knowledge. I believe we have huge potential in traditional knowledge that we have not explored at all. The lot of wisdom India has had for thousands of years. We had the best of the best universities in the world 2,700 years ago. Takshashila, Nalanda. We have 12,000 herbal medicinal plants which are unique to India. I set up a foundation 20 years ago in Bangalore to document all of the herbal medicinal plants called Foundation for Revitalization of Local Health Tradition. We have great heritage and wisdom. We have not been able to use it and bring that knowledge into contemporary world. Let's remember that in 1760, India was the largest economy in the world. 27% of the global economy was from India. Then came British Raj, and Indian economy went from 27% to 2%. We are just beginning to build it. If India turns out to be, again, the largest economy in the world in the next 50 years, it's of no surprise to me. And in human history, 400 years of little bit of a glitch is not a big deal. But to do that, we all have to change. We have to work differently. We need clear focus on development. And I felt that knowledge was the key for India to go forward. And then we also looked at use of knowledge in governance. So we looked at about 27 different subjects. All of this stuff is on the web. But unfortunately, very few people in India read and go explore new frontiers. If you type Knowledge Commission, you will see thousands of pages of documents on the website. If you Google or go to YouTube, you will see thousands of web videos by me on many of these subjects. But you need inner motivation to learn. I believe all research today is multidisciplinary. All research today requires collaboration. And all research is happening faster than ever before. And if we don't focus on new tools, new technology, we will not be able to keep pace. We need knowledge to be globally competitive, to innovate, to find new solutions, Indian models, because the Western models are not scalable. It is unfortunate that everybody wants to copy America. And that model is too expensive. So we need to create new models. My activity now is focused on public information infrastructure to democratize information. So we are connecting through Knowledge Network all of the universities, libraries, R&D institutions with 40 gigabit bandwidth, existing fiber. As you know, we have 1 million kilometers of fiber. We are adding another 400,000 to connect all local panchayats. So we'll connect 250,000 panchayats to optical fiber. We are creating platforms like UID, National GIS, payment, procurement, applications, open source, to really create infrastructure to democratize information. You have right to information, but information is not organized in the manner it should be. You have technology today with cloud computing, open source software, to be able to create infrastructure for tomorrow. Indian government would be spending about $20 billion, 100,000 crores in creating this infrastructure. But government never gets credit for it, because our media and people are focused on petty controversies, confusion, and no one talks about the real gut issues which relate to development. I must say that we do have a vision to build India of tomorrow. We had a vision in the 80s, we have a vision today. We are spending huge amount of capital, financial and human, to build future, but it needs strong government. It needs new kind of leadership. It needs people who can articulate and carry millions and millions together. We also need to focus on innovation. So my another job is to focus on innovation. The fact that Prime Minister announced an appointed advisor with the rank of a cabinet minister on innovation shows that there is political will to focus on innovation. But these things don't get publicized. No one has even heard of advisor on innovation. But you will hear all kinds of crap that goes on the media. Believe me, a lot of good stuff is going on in India. But we always look at glass as half empty and not half full. I look at glass as half full. I'm very excited about the opportunities. To me, there are three fundamental challenges in India. Disparity between rich and poor, urban, rural, educated, uneducated. Demography, 550 million young below age of 25. What a great source of power. This is the workforce for the world. How do we train them, equip them, build them so they can basically go all over the world, provide know-how, capabilities, and build not only India, but the world. I've said that unfortunately, best brains in the world are busy solving problems of the rich, who really don't have problems to solve. And as a result, problems of the poor don't get the right talent. We in India have the largest number of poor. We have huge moral responsibility to solve the problems of the poor. We also have huge potential talent. If you have a billion people, you are bound to have 10 million smart ones. There's nothing you can do. Just sheer numbers give us the power. How do we use this to build a better world for everybody? And three, development. Everything is happening in India, but not happening fast enough. We need more roads, more power, more schools, more teachers, more hospitals, and the list goes on and on. In a sense, we need expansion everywhere. We need excellence everywhere. Leaving aside top universities and colleges and schools, quality of our education is pretty bad. Quality of our health services is very poor. Quality of governance also deserves a lot of improvement. So we need to expand, we need to excel, and we have to focus on equity so that the poorest of the poor can indeed get the best education, health services, government services, and all of that. I am very hopeful that India we are trying to build will be a very different India from what we have today. But it requires a lot of us to work together. It requires us to build strong self within ourselves. It requires us to go back to Gandhian values, indigenous knowledge, traditional focus, Indian model of development, local language, local consideration, local applications, relevant applications, technology for agriculture, not just IT. IT is not going to solve all the problems. IT is the tool. We need technology in agriculture, health services, biotech, nanotech, materials, all of that. I know my time is up, so I'm going to close by commenting on the kind of things you need to learn as students. I'm not telling you as an advice, but I'm sharing some of my experiences. When I was growing up, I consciously focused on one, discipline. I'm 70 years old. I work 16 hours a day. I enjoy my work. I don't need motivation from outside. It comes from within. I find my work. I don't have a job. I don't need a job. I don't need salary. I don't need to earn. But there are so many interesting, exciting things to do which require discipline. Get up early morning. Look for lots of interesting people and interesting things to do. And this requires discipline. 2, you need analytical ability. You need ability to analyze things. Data, graphs, charts, trend, statistics. Then you need ability to be creative. From that data, you need to develop hypotheses and be very creative. You also have to be respectful of other people's opinion, differences. You need to respect a lot of different contradictions. You need to be ethical. In my 70 years, I have never taken a dime from anybody. I have never given a dime to anybody. I can tell you, you can live very ethical life. And it's important to think of ethics at every steps in life. Then I learned that you have to be multidisciplinary. I can't be just an engineer. I got to be scientist, engineer, change agent, visionary, leader, manager. I need lots of disciplines. I need to be global. I'm Indian, but I'm global. Yesterday I was in Dominican Republic. I visited about 90 countries. I'm a citizen of the world. When something happens in Africa, it bothers me. When something happens in Naxal areas, it bothers me. When our poor people can't get enough food, it bothers me. So I work on food bank, I work on high tech, I work on designing computers, telecom, but multidisciplinary approach, global thinking require a lot of collaboration. I know what I don't know. I need to be a team player. So I need to learn to exercise leadership and accept leadership at the same time. I need to be open. I'm a change agent. I want to bring about generational change and not incremental change. I believe it is possible to do a lot of these things even in India, but we need support of the young people. I find that our young begin to think like their parents, and that bothers me. I find our young are also very cynical. That bothers me. If you want to build new India, we need your support. We need your energy. We need your enthusiasm. And we need moral fabric. And only you can bring some of the things that we have lost from our tradition. You can bring those back. So once again, I want to thank your professor, Dr. Sam, for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank you all for listening. I'm sorry I took about 10 more minutes than I was given, just about 40 minutes. But I don't get an opportunity like this, so I thought I'd use this, and I'll be happy to answer questions. I have so many things to share, but I know I have to stop. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pitroda, for taking us in those 40 minutes from your village to the high corridors of power and policy making. I think in the process you have given our young students a kind of manifesto for their life as they go out to live the portion that still remains. And I'm sure there are many questions awaiting you. I'm sure they don't want to let go this opportunity of sitting a little more time with you. So,
no problem, it's my privilege. It's always good to see good-looking young people.
So questions from here or from the other rooms in MSB? So anyone can speak to Mr. Pitroda now. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I have one question.
Please.
You said that India has got, I mean, the young talent in India is in millions. I accept. But at the same time, you also pointed out that the quality of education, except, and I mean, if you leave institutions like IIT, has been poor in India. So I accept that the young talent that you are pointing out, most of the young talent has gone through this kind of an education in their life. So how is it? I mean, in work, what we do is usually train this young talent. We try to train them out, but in order to genuinely create talent of their own, we really need, we really need teachers, or we really need good quality education to be provided. So for the next generation to come, what are the steps that government is taking, or people like you are planning, so that this kind of thing that doesn't happen? Like,
okay, I request you to go look at reports of the National Knowledge Commission. I'm sure none of you have looked at it. Okay, it is shame that the IIT students have not even seen the report of the National Knowledge Commission, because that's the way we are. We are great to criticize, comment, advise, but we are very poor in doing our homework. Okay. So my first request would be for you to go look at reports of the National Knowledge Commission. But I still want to answer your question. The education starts at home. Unfortunately, a lot of our parents want their good children, smart children, intelligent children to become engineers and doctors, because it assures earning capacity. Because most of us come from poor background, large number of us. And as a result, immediately we go into a narrow activity because we are looking for jobs. Earning becomes more important than learning in the process. We need multidisciplinary education. We need electrical engineer knowledgeable in politics and economics and social science and psychology and philosophy and anthropology and music. Remember, when I was growing up, we thought average lifespan is going to be 60 years. I believe your lifespan is going to be 125. Because by the time you get into trouble in next 30, 40 years, stem cell and all this technology will make sure that all your parts are replaceable. They won't let you die. Look at me, I am 70 years old. I had 2 quadruple bypasses. I have 4 stents, and I also have cancer. Technology has given me longevity. But my definition of longevity may be 80, 90. Yours would be 120, maybe 150. So be ready. You want to be just an electrical engineer for 100 years? Maybe you want to be a musician in the process. Another scary thought is you will have to live with same wife for 100 years. Or same husband for 100 years. Think of lifespan very differently than we thought of. Think of multiple careers, multidisciplinary education. Don't blame anybody. Blame yourself. Your parents have given you whatever they can give you, love and affection and whatever they have. Your teachers can give you limited stuff because they may not have all the knowledge. Government can do only so much. So don't expect anybody to do anything for you. You have to do what needs to be done. We are very quick to point fingers at government policy, politicians, bureaucracy, teacher. Problem is always here. Problem is never there. Okay, we tend to go look at problem there. Okay, and we think it's there that somebody is going to solve the problem. You've got to solve the problem. World is open for you. Just go see what is available on the internet for you to learn. Teacher is just there. Your teacher is not knowledgeable in everything. Parents are not knowledgeable. My father had 4th grade education. But so what? He was highly educated. My mother couldn't speak English, but she lived here for 30 years. So just take what you have as given. Explore new frontiers on your own. So I would say, if you have 10 million smart ones, they'll figure it out. Okay? So have faith in them. Institutions are still not up to the mark. Government is still not ready to do everything they need to do. But that's part of the journey. If all of the things that you want would be done today, you will cease to be a developing society. You will be already developed. Until then, you got to go through all this. It may be another 50 years. That's okay. All right, next question.
Yeah, please.
Please.
So you said that we don't have about the Knowledge Commission. We didn't, at least I'm speaking for myself, we didn't know about the Knowledge Commission or about any other advisory boards that has been set up by the government. We just hear from the news channels or what we read. Cynicism creeps into us. That's because that's what we see, that's what we read. Why doesn't the government or people like you, bureaucrats, come out more often? I'm inspired by your speech today. I would want the entire nation to hear more often about such things. Why doesn't that happen?
Just Google Sam Pitroda. Just Google Sam Pitroda. There are 400,000 or 500,000 articles. Go to YouTube and say Sam Pitroda. There are 15,000 videos. How more often you can go to public? Public is not interested in learning. Okay? So you see, you are also trying to blame everybody else and not yourself. Okay? I have a job to do. I can't be talking to people all the time and still do my job. Okay? So I do a little bit of talking, little bit of my job, little bit of traveling, little bit of family, little bit of reading, little bit of writing. I'm also limited. I have limited capabilities. I'm just a human being. Okay? So you are saying you should talk more. I would say I am talking a lot. Hold on. You just relax. So I am saying, look, don't be very quick to suggest what others should do. Be very quick to look inside and say, what should I do? Okay? And say, maybe before listening to Sam Pitroda, if I would have known that Sam Pitroda is going to talk to me, I would have Googled him for 2 hours. Okay? I do that all the time. Whenever I go to meet somebody, I know all the background of that person. Age, family, education, work experience, likes, dislikes. How many people do that? You have all the tools. You have access to internet. Did you do it? No, you didn't. Who should you blame? Yourself. Nobody will tell you this. And I'm telling you because I think it is important to tell you this. Okay? Always look for solutions inside. Don't look for solutions outside. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is build very strong self. Self that is not fragile. See, I find that in India everybody is ready to be hurt. Because everyone is very fragile self-esteem. You don't say hello to me and I feel bad. I'm waiting to be hurt. And I find that you can't hurt me. You can't insult me, you can't hurt me. I'm happy doing what I do. You know, if somebody says, oh, Pitroda is bad, I feel sorry for them. They'll figure it out someday. So I think learn to build strong self. Self that you respect. See, in order for me to like you, I must like myself. If I don't like myself, I'll never like you. Okay? I'll always find fault in you. And I find that it's important to build strong self, to be a team player, to be a leader, to be a good human being. Love everybody. Don't criticize anybody. Always see good in people. You know, help them. Everyone has faults. Everyone needs help. You may have X fault, somebody may have Y fault, and I may have D fault. Okay. So just, you know, be nice. Look inside. That's the message. Okay. And you will find a lot of solutions. And when in trouble, think of Gandhiji. I'm telling you, every time I've been in trouble, I've thought of Gandhi, and everything looks very simple. Everything looks very trivial. Gandhi is my role model. Gandhi is my inspiration. Gandhi is my roadmap. Gandhi is inside, Gandhi is outside. Gandhi is everywhere. And I remember at IIM Bangalore many years ago, I gave a convocation speech. And you know, I normally don't prepare anything, I just talk. And I said, for me, you could wear jeans, drink scotch and still be Gandhian. Next day there were headlines in the paper saying, Pitroda said Gandhi drank scotch and wore jeans. That's Indian media. Then hundreds of Gandhians wrote an application to Prime Minister that Pitroda must apologize in public. Well, I didn't say. So I get a phone call from Rajiv Gandhi's office saying, what is this? You know, you said something and they want you to apologize. I said, no, I'm not going to apologize. Then they wrote to President of India that Pitroda must apologize in public. I said, no, I'm not apologizing. I still believe in what I said. You may not agree with it. That's your problem. The point is, Gandhi means different things to different people. You don't have to wear khadi to be Gandhian. And that's the beauty of Gandhi. So look at self. When in trouble, look at Gandhi. Thank you.
There's a question from you.
So,
Please go ahead.
like whenever you look at people around, you find a lot of problems. When and where do you start from? Like as you said, like when you were in India.
Inside. Start from inside. Start from inside. Don't look at problems in others. Look at problems in yourself. Why worry about problems with others? We got enough problems to solve. Why try to solve somebody else's problem? Okay. I can tell you, I have never given any advice to my children. None whatsoever. I've never asked them for their grades. I've never questioned them. I just love them. and give them what they need? Because I can't give them advice. I can give them father they can look up to, because that's in my control. The rest of the stuff is not in my control. I can do what I believe in. So my message is very different. Just look inside. Don't worry about others. Because you see, in India, you do not need talent to identify problems. Understand this. You do not need talent to identify problems in India. It's all over. You probably do not need talent also to solve a problem. But you need courage, conviction to go get it done against all the odds. That's what you need. You know, people identify saying, oh, what about water, what about this, what about rural India? We all know the problems. You don't need brains for that.
Oh, little bit, yes.
Next.
Yeah, please.
Sir, you said business building and nation building are. You said business building and nation building are quite different. On what basis did you choose between them? What motivated you to choose nation building?
Because I saw an opportunity to have bigger impact. I can always make money. The impact of that would be on my family. So, you know, I would have 5 cars instead of 2 cars. Okay. I will have better suit, 10 suits instead of 5 suits. Is that what I want in life? So I decided that material I can always get. I have enough material. So I got to a point where I felt I'm comfortable. I don't need to raise hand to anybody. Then do I go acquire more and more wealth for myself? Or I get a chance to have a bigger impact? I think it was romantic to work on nation building. It was boring to build a company. Personal choice.
Anyone else from here or even from MSB 359360? Any questions from there? Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, my question is that why are we required to choose our stream after the 10th grade? Because we don't really have any idea about what we want to do. So we see a lot of IITians going into fields that are completely unrelated to engineering. So isn't that kind of, well, not exactly, but you don't really see all the engineers contributing to the technological development of the country.
I'm glad you asked this question. I think this is a very important question to discuss. But you know, we have created a system over a period of time which I believe is completely obsolete. I am beginning to question, why does it take 4 years to get a degree? Who decided it should take 4 years to get a degree? Whosoever decided that must have been a marketing genius, because the whole world takes 4 years to get a degree. Chinese take 4 years, Russians take 4 years, Indians take 4 years, Brazilians take 4 years. If Henry Ford appeared today in this world, the only place he will find production is in education. Mass production is only in education. So I think education today is completely obsolete as far as I am concerned. If I had a child today, I will never send him or her to school. Forget it. It's waste of time. Mainly because we create an environment where we tell them what we want them to learn and not what they want to learn. We put them in a box. We judge them by our own grade and certificates and exams. Learning is from environment. Now, Knowledge is accessible everywhere in all forms. A small little kid in a tribal village in India, in Orissa, can go visit Guggenheim Museum, go to Paris, go to Brazil, see exactly what's going on, learn about Einstein, physics, math, culture, dance. What do I need a teacher for? What do I need somebody to tell me what I should learn? Just guide me, love me, help me, mentor me. That's all I need. Why do I need a certificate to say I'm competent in electrical engineering? Try me out. But it will take a long time to do that, because the society is not ready for it. When I tell people that teachers are essentially obsolete, they react, teachers union react. Think Pitroda is crazy, how can you say this? Okay? But the message is that I don't need teacher to deliver content or create content. I had a teacher in Baroda who used to say his notes have not changed for 20 years. And he used to take great pride in it. But that's how we do things. Okay. So we got to look at the future. We are too locked up in past. There are some good things from the past which we are not exploring. But we are locked on to the past, while we need to look at the future. We need change agents. We need generational change. I mean, look at car. You know, when I think of car, I said, who came up with this idea to have 4,000 pounds of steel moving to move 200-pound body? I mean, what a dumb idea. But the whole world is following it. Okay. Do I need to move 4,000 pounds of steel to move 200 pounds of body?
Just 4,000 pounds of steel.
Everything we do today is essentially obsolete. Everything. How do I get admission in school? Do I need 5 copies of the same certificate? Do I need gazetted officer to say true copy? How do I get birth certificate? How do I get land record? How do I communicate? Everything we do today is essentially obsolete. I've been saying we have 19th century mindset, we have 20th century processes that British Raj left behind, and we have 21st century needs and technology. And there is total disconnect everywhere. I find sometimes that, you know, when I work with people, I find that I'm from a different planet. I mean, what they value, I don't value. What they think is important is not important. Okay? What they think is fair is not fair. What they think is proper is probably not proper. So we need to begin to question a lot of things. That's the message. And we need to bring about generational change. Let me give you one simple example. 2 examples, interesting examples. One, I have a friend who said, I want to study lightning bug. The bug that gives light at night. And he said, what I want to do is whatever their mechanism they have, I want to inject that in the tree. So tree will glow at night. That's an interesting, wild idea. But that's way out there. It may take 50 years, but it will happen. Another guy says, why do we refine oil on top of the ground? Why can't I refine oil in the ground? So I don't need refineries on top of the ground. Third fellow said, I analyzed the number of chickens that we eat every day and the feather and the waste that comes out. Every day we kill some billion chicken or something, some big number, whatever it is. And look at the amount of waste. So he said, can I design a chicken which has same food value but no feather, no waste, a bald chicken? And he has designed one. These are the challenges of tomorrow. Genetically modified food, stem cell research to make human parts, better way to communicate and transport. All of these things are going to change the world. We are living in a world which is obsolete. And if you think that way, you begin to see things differently. Next.
Any other question from here? Or from there, MSB 359. Yeah, please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you, today we find a generation which is confused whether to work on business, work on earning, or work on social issues. The problem is, if we work on social issues, we miss out a lot of things. You are fortunate in a sense, like you worked in business and through that you were able to get into the social issues and everything. What about people who are not as fortunate as you? Maybe they'll get lost in business.
It is not about fortunate. See, it is not about being fortunate. Don't be under wrong impression. It is all about hard work. It's all about 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, selfless work. Nobody is fortunate. It is not a luck that somebody gave it to me. Okay? You have to do what you have to do. So if you think you need to first make money, go make money. If you can't make money, then you have to accept that you are not competent enough to make money. Accept the reality. And don't blame anybody else except yourself. Okay? You are quick to blame the world. You are quick to blame, saying, oh, you are fortunate, I am not fortunate, you did this, I didn't do that. Yeah. You know, it's like when a lot of people come to me with great ideas, say, sir, I have a wonderful idea, but nobody is investing. Okay, so I said, look, accept the fact you don't have a good idea. But he's not willing to accept that. He said, no, I have a great idea. The whole world should be thinking this is going to change the whole world. Look at this. You know, and I only need $5 million and nobody's giving me 50,000. Have a good idea. You got to look inside every time. And you got to find your own path. World is your playground. Find your own journey.
I'm cold.
Okay, so that's the message.
Yeah, maybe one last question.
Sir, you said that you know, one of the initiatives is to train the young Indian population in maths and science.
We are right down there.
I was wondering that there's a lot of resistance in any new technology to be incorporated in India, like let's say it's nuclear energy or GMOs, anything. So don't we need a parallel social revolution along with the IT or ICT revolution on which you and most of us are focusing on, and the young people have to develop a pool of social know-how also, and let's say transform the media, which is also posing hindrance to our moving ahead.
First, I would recommend again that you go look at Knowledge Commission recommendations on how to encourage our children to go into maths and science. There is a whole set of recommendations. Okay, just read that. It will tell you the details as to how to do it, why to do it and all that. Two, what you are telling me is that we need a change in mindset. But that can come only from each one of us. It cannot come from everybody together. It's like this, somebody asked me a question in the media saying, what is your view on corruption? And my answer was, I can assure you I am not corrupt. Guaranteed 100%. But I cannot say same thing about my wife. I don't know. I can't say this about my children. They have to take responsibility. Okay? So I can't say everybody should be, honest. I mean, dumb thing to say. Only thing I can say is I can be honest. So when you talk about changing mindset, each one of us will have to say, I want to change my mind. and not wait for everybody else to change their mind. What we want is everybody else to change while I'm going to be the same. I think change has to come from within. I agree with you, we need our media change, we need change in mindset. Journey has to start somewhere, and it can only start from each one of us individually, and not from a mass movement. You can't have a demonstration on the street for changing mindset. Okay? Can't do it. Okay? I hope this was useful.
Yeah, Mr. Pitroda, how happy we all are that you couldn't make that phone call to your wife from the Taj, and how, and I think over these 90 minutes you have told us how to convert problems into opportunities and take challenges. So I'm extremely grateful to you for accepting our request. I should tell you that Mr. Pitroda was very particular about making this. In fact, this was supposed to be on Monday, but then he had this meeting with the President of the Dominican Republic. Then still he was every inch practicing what he said just now with this very talk itself. He did his homework. He wanted to have a chat. He did that last week. Again this morning he called to finalize. Then half an hour back he called to see that all the lines are through, all that. So that itself, so I think this is not one of those talks which you just listen to and then get away, go to your mess and get to the rest of your stuff. I think, as I said, this is a manifesto for all of us, manifesto for life. I think he has challenged us considerably, and especially with that message that you are the solution. Solution has to start from you. I think this will have a great impact on many of the students, and I hope that a good number of them will be like the ones who responded to your call in the 1980s and summoned the call of the nation as we face all these challenges. So thank you for this lecture, which was at once technological, managerial, philosophical. It's one of the amazing lectures that students would have heard. So thanks a lot, and also to your office in Delhi, the Office of the Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister on Public Information Infrastructure and Innovation, and to the staff of NIC, and to our own staff. So thanks a lot, and thanks to you students for making this. And on behalf of the student, I think I can make the assurance that we'll try to practice some parts of it. Okay. Probably it can start tomorrow morning, how early you rise. So thanks a lot for inspiring us, and wish you good luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you.